Okay, good morning, everyone. It
Morning.
is 9:05 and we are starting our meeting. We have no changes to the agenda, I believe, so we're at item 1, approval of today's meeting agenda. Any changes for that?
No changes.
Can I get a motion for that?
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Item 2 is a consent agenda for the approval of the 5/15/2025 ACC meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Unanimous. Joe Jean, I like your background.
It's nice and warm here.
All right, let's go to item 4 with Adam for Longshore Lane.
Did you want me to speak up about it?
I'm going to ask my committee if they have any comments.
Okay.
I'll move
Nope.
to approve as submitted.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Well, that was easy. Thank you, Adam. I think I remember your email address, banjo.fish.
Yeah, we were all 21 once, right?
So we've seen you before here, right? You've met with us?
Yes, the driveway earlier. So
Okay, yeah.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, so you're all set with this one too.
All right. Easy peasy. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Item 5, 14 Horizon Hill. We have Rick, is that right?
Yes.
I think this looked like a pretty good improvement. Does my committee have any comments about this?
I'll
Nope.
move to approve.
Was there any other, did I hear a comment or?
No, I was gonna move to approve, but Joe Jean beat me.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Good luck with that one. Looks good.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We will
you.
have to come back with paint colors. We haven't picked the paint colors, but we'll do that down the road when we get to that point. But thank
Well,
you
you know
all
where
for
to
your
find us.
service to the organization or to the
Okay.
community.
Just
Thanks.
as a note, Daniel, I think for clarification, if the paint colors are within the Southern Valley pre-approved, then it doesn't come back to this committee, right? Then Alan and the general manager can just review that and approve that.
I think that's the case, Alan, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So if the paint colors are within the profile that has been already pre-approved by Sudden Valley, you don't need to even come back to this committee. It's only if you want to step outside of that. So
Excellent. Thank you. Well, I know we have to submit it when we get to that point, but thank you so much for the clarification.
thank you.
Thanks. All right. Let's go down to item 17 with 5 Cold Spring Lane. Dewey and Adam, is that right?
Should be John.
Yeah, it's John.
It's John. There's no, for item 17?
Yeah, John Falcon, and I thought Dewey was with you guys as well.
Oh, who's Adam? Where did I get Adam?
Adam was.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
we
was a different
just
Adam.
did Adam.
I
Yeah.
wrote his name there. So you're John and Dewey.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right, item 17. This is quite a project.
Yeah, it's been a long process. It's a pretty complicated lot, actually.
It looks like a real improvement, though.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was the main goal.
How long do you think it's gonna take to tear down and rebuild?
So we have the builder lined up, and that was a bit of a circus as well. But he's ready to roll, and I imagine demo can happen within 2 to 3 weeks, and it behooves him to get it done real fast. We want to be dried in before September. So Yeah, I mean, the builder could talk better about timing and schedule on that, but
Yeah, discussing with Ben, he thought 7 months is kind of the target on that.
Joel, could you help us out on these variances?
Sure.
Is this just part of? They're working on top of an existing foundation, correct? And
That's correct.
we're sort of grandfathered into old numbers, which
I think,
I mean,
yeah, I think that's
go ahead.
something that, I don't think we've had that discussion yet, if they're,
Mhm.
if they're grandfathered in, so we recommended the variances just in case. But yeah, these variances would apply because of those new policy changes for 2025.
right.
And let's see, so there was the,
But while Joel was looking that up, I got just a question. Is this house, this is a tear down and a rebuild. Is this being done like as a spec house, or is this somebody that bought this house and wants to rebuild a house on this lot?
It's a happy renter that's trying to convert it to own the home. This is not a flip or a rental. And yeah, it's true. We are using the existing foundation. We actually made the foundation smaller on the northwest corner to stay within the setback. So we've done everything we can to make it, fit the code. We got existing driveway and we've made that smaller, and so. But yeah, this is not like a flip or anything like that.
Yeah, the three of us went out on Monday to go ahead and look at the site and everything, and everything looks good. I'm in agreement for the variances and all.
Yeah, we as our policy document states, we don't generally approve carports. This is a nice design. This looks nice. I mean, I have no objection to this at all. It really, and that's a nice feature. I wouldn't mind having that with a nice deck over my a space. So it
Yeah.
looks nice. There's no reason not to offer a variance for something like this. And it works with the lot really well.
My question with the carport, I think I saw a note in there somewhere that they're building the carport the way it's being built so that eventually the homeowner could enclose the carport and make it into a garage. Why are they not just doing that now?
I think it was
not
a
big fan of
financial
carports.
decision.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of carports. I mean, we have garages for a reason, and we don't end up with things parked outside and a lot of, just if a garage can be built, I think the garage should be built.
Yeah, when we talked to him, it had to do with cost, wasn't that correct?
I think that's always everyone's front of mind, but I think aesthetically it works for its the owner's current needs. They don't have a lot of cars, they don't have a lot of stuff. I think this is just a dry place to park. So yeah, it was kind of more of an aesthetic decision. But obviously I think it could be enclosed someday when needs change, but
Well, it obviously doesn't look like just a piece of plywood to cover your car. It looks like a nice structure, and that's what I'm looking at.
mhm.
And I think it worked well with the lot. It is a bit of a bigger building for the space, but we are working within the constraints of the old foundation. I
Mhm.
was very skeptical at first, Dan, and we went to look at this space, and it works for me.
Well, I appreciate you guys going to look at it. I think that makes a big difference if you can kind of get out there and visualize what's there now to what you're going to see
Yeah.
In the future. If it's an improvement to the community and improvement to the area, then variance. I'd rather give a little bit of a variance on property coverage, et cetera, than or open space to make something look much nicer than not give a variance and have the crap that's there now stay there. So
Yeah, I think they give a real consideration to the space they're working with, and I think it's a good solution. Were there any other issues, Joel, that came up here?
no, I don't have any, other issues. They've done I think a good job at meeting other policy requirements, and the plans are thorough. A little bit, just a couple of little notes though. I mean, looking at the existing plan set, it actually looked like their lines of their eaves are extending over the property line as it's currently sits. So this counts as a reduction from that because they're going to bring those eaves back. But I think it's, yeah, I have no other.
So they're pulling the eaves in closer than what
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
existing?
correct. Yeah, they had a handful of kind of lean-tos and kind of homeowner specials off the back there, and it's a critical area, and so we've come off of it. We've reduced our footprint. We've made our eaves, smaller than we typically like them,
Mhm.
and even jogged the foundation there in that exact northwest corner there, just to stay off the setback. So making some effort to.
Okay. Yeah, and that's appreciated. I mean, we do look at that kind of thing.
And Dan, if you weren't able to visit the property, here are some photos from the Whatcom County Assessor side of what the house currently looks like.
There's a garage there now.
So the garage is where the carport will be, is that correct? The same location?
Correct.
And then you're burying the gas tank, which is always good.
Right.
Those pictures look a lot better than the actual.
I
was-
didn't
I
didn't want to
asked
say
how
that,
old-
Patrick.
Yeah.
How old are those pictures?
Oh, there was some from, I think, as far back as 2008.
Oh,
2020 was the most recent.
yeah, it looked a little different the other day.
Yeah.
So I think, any other comments about this project?
I'll move to approve.
Do you want to do a consent agenda for 17 and 18? The variance for the carport?
Well,
Yes.
I'm gonna vote no on the carport, so.
Okay, we'll start with 17. Joe Jean, go ahead for 17.
Well, yeah, I'll make a motion to approve item 17.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Then 18, do we have any other comments about 18, the carport?
I don't think it looks bad. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna vote no, because I don't think financial considerations should be a big part of this, like, just trying to be consistent, like, if we allow it for one, we gotta allow it for everybody, so. But I defer to the fact that you guys went out and looked at it. I appreciate it. I'm not mad at anybody, just trying to be consistent.
Well, let me just point out that I would have that same concern too, Dan, but I think the design that they're presenting looks nice, so that's why I would vote for it. But I would definitely appreciate your view on that, because I agree with it to a certain extent. All right, so then can we get a motion for item 18
I think Joe Jean made it, didn't you?
No, I
for the
didn't.
carport?
Patrick.
Oh, yeah, I'm moved to approve the carport.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
No, duly noted.
Got that, Alan?
Yep.
All right, then we have the variance for lot coverage. Can I get a motion? Or a
I'll make a
comment?
Approve.
I'll make a motion on that.
Okay, Dan's motion is to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And finally, the setback for item 20.
I'll make a motion on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, have fun with your project.
Thank you so much.
Who motioned item 20, please?
Dan,
Thank you.
I thought I did.
I don't think Patrick got any yet.
I got him for 18.
All
Dan
right.
and Joe Jean are
Well, I'm not
stepping all
gonna
over
fight
him.
Patrick over it. His seniority rules on this one, so.
All right, so we're giving Patrick 20.
Okay. Mr. Chair, may I interrupt the group for introducing a couple of new members?
Certainly.
Okay, Vitaly, can you hear us okay? Vitaly? Okay, we'll come back to you. VJ, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Good morning. What
Hey,
item are
VJ.
you here for?
Morning. I'm here for 18 Louisville,
Thank you.
my neighbor.
Sure. 14 Louise View, right?
18, Louise.
18, 1-8.
Item
Oh,
14.
Item
Thank you.
14.
So we have two people for that one, Alan,
Yes.
Basile, and VJ.
Hang on. Experiencing technical difficulties. Apologies. Louise View. Boom. VJ, got you. Vitaly, can you hear us okay? Okay, we can come back to Vitaly. All right, Mr. Chair, back to you.
Alrighty. Let's go to item 6 with Jay.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Hi, Jay. All right. Are you there, Joel, to help us out with this one? I had a couple questions.
Yeah, I haven't, this one hasn't come across my desk yet, really,
Okay.
but yeah, we can,
Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite do you have all the info, Joel? All the specs there?
yeah, I'm looking at the agenda right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna share it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had questions about the geo blocks. Keith mentioned them to me when he saw them coming up over there. What's the issue with that, and why did the county not permit that, or?
So county permitted it. That wasn't the issue. It was engineering recommended that instead of doing geo blocks, that there was like for that particular type of wall that's proposed, which is an Allen block wall. My understanding is that the Bradley Engineering recommended that we do it's some like geo grid like soil thing instead of the geo blocks if we want to do the Allen block wall combined into it. So that's what that's about. County didn't have an issue.
So did you have to remove them or what?
Oh, sorry. No, my mistake. Geo blocks were approved by the engineer. So what was the issue that you guys had with it?
I was questioning exactly what the change was. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, okay, got it. So just to clarify, really the main change, if we're talking about, because there are a couple components here, colors and siding is one, and then the other is block wall. So what it is, it's very simple. Originally proposed, it was what do you call it? Poured in place concrete walls in that area. And it's just Allen block now is what it's changed to. So it's more of an aesthetic thing that I'm here for you guys on for the block wall.
So the changes to the block wall is aesthetic. They want to go to the Allen block instead of poured in place concrete.
Yes, and there's still a little bit of poured in place concrete that will observe the ACC's requirements. We're going to do like a siding cover on that, so it won't be raw.
So are you talking about the very front of the building where your walkway ends up?
Yeah, so I would say, Joel, if you're driving there, if you want to scroll down a little bit, you'll see, there we go. So that's the layout of the block walls. You can see the Allen blocks noted in that block looking thing. And then all the way over to the right, there still is one small section. Yeah, Joel's little cursor is right over it. That's an extension of the foundation. That is a poured concrete retaining wall there. The rest of the walls are denoted in Allen block, as you can see it. So that's the layout.
So Joel, do you see this as just a purely aesthetic decision for us, or is there any other issue we need to be aware of?
I think as long as the engineers have signed off on it, I think it can just be I wouldn't worry about as long as the engineers are willing to sign off on it, I think it would be, just aesthetics from
Okay.
from the
Well,
community's
I want to clarify, it's not a matter of like, the geofoam is not, I mean, there's a very clear note there. I don't care what the county says, but geofoam is not allowed as backfill with Allen block walls. It's not a matter of like, you don't have a choice. You can't use geofoam blocks if you're gonna do geofoam if you're gonna do Allen block.
Right. Yeah. So there is geofoam. Like my understanding is the geofoam is not in the area where the Allen block is. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it. There still is some geofoam that's up against the house that is backfill for that concrete retaining wall on the side, which is allowed, but we're not using geofoam anywhere that there is soil pressure against the Allen block. So we have observed what the engineers have requested.
So Jay, is the geofoam just a filler of sorts?
Yeah, essentially. Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
It's
just not stable enough to support the Allen blocks. Is that what it is?
You know what it is? I think Allen block has their own specifications of what they want to see as like for soil support. And one of the things that they want to see is that grid. I forget what they call it, but it's a grid, and that's just an Allen block thing. That's what it is, to my understanding.
Where's the profile of this retaining wall? I don't see any profile on this retaining wall. All I see is the aerial.
Yeah, I think Joel's got it on the screen right here. This is your section view of the retaining wall.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is signed off. Bradley Engineering did this for us. So.
Any other questions, Stan?
I've walked by this place many times and I'm not sure how any of this is going to work. Is that wall basically, there's three levels of windows. Is that wall going to be basically right in front of the lowest, the basement level window? It looks like there's about if you look at that, not the driveway, but you've got another wall that runs into the driveway there. It looks like that's going to basically be right in front of the window.
It'll be 8 feet from the window. Joel, if you could scroll down to that aerial view, the overhead again, that'll kind of give a better idea with the layout. So yeah, that space there where Joel's cursor is, and I do know what you're talking about, Dan. That's approximately 8 feet between the windows and that Allen block wall there. It's sort of stepped back as like a terrace.
So how high is that wall there? Right in front of the building? Yeah, that one.
Let's see. I believe these walls the engineering is 4 to 6 feet is what the detail is for. And that area right there should be a 6-foot section.
I think your detail allowed up to 8 feet.
Oh, up to 8. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. That wall there's going to, I believe it's going to end up at 6, maybe 7. It kind of depends when it's installed, but we can go up to 8 feet with the detail. Obviously the goal is to try to keep everything as short as possible is always the goal.
Any other comments, Dan?
They don't require any rebar or any concrete fill in this Allen block?
So if you go down to the detail of what the engineers have specified it in the section view. Yeah, that's what the requirement is right there. So the magic Valen block, as it's been explained to me, is the way it's designed. There's it's like a locking mechanism in the surfaces of the brick, and then there's that's what it does. It kind of holds it all together.
No, I guess it doesn't seem like it's all that great to me, but if the engineer signed off on it, then it's his E&O insurance, not mine. So
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So I guess
But
we're looking at this as an aesthetic request, based on what Joel told us and what Jay's telling us. I see nothing else that concerns me that I understand anyway.
yeah,
So,
and as far as your concerns about it structurally, obviously we've had an engineer do it, but there is a footing included in that as well. So I think that's helpful.
yeah, I think this is a very unusual design, and this is a solution for the space you're working with, and it's a little bit, we have questions. Is this really going to work?
Mhm.
At this point, we can only trust in the engineers that they know what they're doing. But aesthetically, can I get a motion on this?
I move to,
Was there a comment
are we
there?
talking about just the retaining wall now, or because there was some other paint and siding requests for this one too?
Correct. Yeah. Do you want to discuss that, Dan?
Uh,
This is all from one request, construction change request.
yeah, I just was curious it says adding third floor. Does that mean they're adding a third floor, or they're just adding the siding to the third floor?
The latter, Dan. Sorry if that's confusing. This does have 3 levels, and just adding tongue and groove wood on the 3rd level. And it's primarily the soffits, but there will be some accent as well.
You good with that, Dan?
Yeah, so we're adding some wood on the siding. Back up. We're doing this Allen block instead of poured in place concrete. We're changing the wood. The 3rd floor is going to get wood siding.
Mm-hmm.
The trim is going to be painted to black, and the body is switching out to a rustic red. So
That's correct.
In black house.
Yep, body color is that rustic red, yes. And I wanted to show the copper red SW2839 is approved. Rustic red is it's so close. I just effort of transparency to show you guys rustic red is for all intents and purposes the same as copper red, but wanted to make sure you guys were aware. The goal is to try and make, as you know, 8 Valley View next door, trying to make them as different as possible. So aesthetically.
I've got no problem with those choices. Can I get a motion?
motion to approve is still on the floor.
It is.
Okay. And that was Patrick, right?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor of Patrick's motion?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, Jay, you're all set.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Take care.
Mr. Chair, we have another another homeowner join us. Jeff, are you there?
Here.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. You are item 7, 68 Marigold, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's jump right to that one then. Item 7. Jeff, is this a bigger, I think John and I went out there last year sometime and looked at, you had I don't know if it was the actual application or just talked to us about the pavers, and we looked at it, and I think it was a smaller parcel that you were going to put up there. Wasn't it smaller before?
Only slightly. This one, I just extended it so that it marries up with the stairs that are already going up the side. So it's just
Yeah.
going to go to the end of to mate with the stairs, so it doesn't look weird.
That makes,
And go ahead, Patrick.
no, that makes sense to have it where the stairs end.
And I think there wasn't a wall proposed at that point. You decided to
there
put a wall
wasn't.
up there too.
Yeah, I didn't have a wall, but when you guys looked at it, you were like, this probably needs a little wall, and I thought about that and agreed. So in the comments and the approval were, if you wanted to put up a 3-foot wall, then just resubmit. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision. And we do have a concern about the your previous the hot tub. Were you going to close that in like we asked you to?
Close in. How do you mean close in? Oh, you mean with planners and stuff? Of course, yeah.
Well, I think there was a proposed screen around it, and that's not there yet.
I think what we had settled on was just using planter boxes. It's going to be submerged in the deck.
The hot tub is going to be submerged in it, so it's not finished yet.
Not yet. They're starting it today. It took forever to get the permit.
Okay, so at this point, it's sitting on, what is it sitting on now? Is it on a concrete platform or what?
Yes, it has its own pad.
And then
It's
what
sitting
they're
at a
going to do?
height. It's sitting at a height that'll make it basically 18 inches exposed, so you can step into it. That was kind of the idea when the deck is finished.
So you're going to build up around it, or you're going to dig into the concrete pad?
The deck will be built around it.
Okay, and then you're going to put the planter there.
The planter
on the
box,
deck.
yeah, the planter boxes will go in the space that is in front of the hot tub, so that it's shielded from view. As far as the side goes, the plan there was for phase 2 we're planning to extend the deck out, so that'll cover that side from view from the neighbor.
Yeah, because I mean, our biggest objection when we saw your final design was that it was the hot tub was right there exposed. Everybody that comes by, that's what they see on your house. That's not what we wanted. So we did want some sort of privacy screen and hide it away a little bit, because of all that wall you put up there. You're just seeing a big display of a hot tub, which if we'd seen that design, it probably wouldn't have been improved. So we were asking you to hide it a bit. And we were a little concerned that it wasn't yet, and that we wanted to know what your plans were in that regard. Does anybody have any question about Jeff's explanation for the screening?
Well, I'd like maybe request Alan to go back and look at what was approved. I do recall that it was going to be, the hot tub was going to be recessed into a deck. So, I mean, I walk by there all the time and I see that hot tub sitting there, and it's not, sounds like they're working on that today. So if the hot tub is recessed into the deck, you're not going to see the hot tub as much. But I recall some sort of a screen. I don't recall planners, but again,
Yeah.
we look at a lot of these. So I would maybe ask Alan to go back in the files and verify what was approved for that hot tub screen. I mean, that's not what we're here talking about today.
No, but I do want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think Daniel, your question might be, do these things kind of, do we finish up one before we do with approve another? I don't know. I mean, and the other question I had on what's being proposed today is, I think the same notes that everybody had is, how does this fit with open space? I mean, it looks like this, by the time you got the driveway and the deck and this stuff, there's a lot of this lot is paved over. I don't know how big the lot is. So how does this new addition affect the open space?
It's
Have
not
you looked
really
into that,
close.
Jeff?
I did, and what I submitted, I provided those calculations. Our lot goes all the way back up to the condos, so it's quite a big lot, and we have nothing developed on the majority of it.
Yeah, I
So
think I
adding
recall that when John and I went back there and talked to you, it looked like that would not be an issue.
That's right.
When you do the deck, how far of a drop is it to the ground below?
Well, just keep in mind there's almost 5 feet in front of the deck before there's any wall. So you have that. Otherwise, the county and that wall up at the top there is 4 feet, just under.
All right, so
So is
good.
there going to be plants from the deck to that wall?
Yeah, we have in that design we had like some purple creeper that we're planning. I'm waiting to do that until they finish the footings for the deck, so we don't disturb the soil around those. So when they finish the deck footings and the deck project, I'll plant the creeper, and that'll pretty much fill up that entire space in front of where the railings are going to go and into the deck.
So does anybody have any concerns about our initial approval linking to this one, or do we feel confident that the project will be finished? I guess we'll wait to see what if Alan could give us a recap of what our motion was on that last one.
Sure, I can provide you just off the top of my head. I'm familiar with Jeff and the work that's gone on there.
Okay.
What we had talked about is a railing of sorts, a safety railing, clear plexiglass, which elicited the response of being able to see people getting in and out of the hot tub and all that time. And Jeff, I believe it was your wife who suggested some planter boxes be installed there. So as far as partitioning visibility, that's what I recall. And then I talked to Jeff before the meeting, and he related to me a similar situation with obtaining county permits to do the hot tub work. So I think there's just simply been a delay in his ability to proceed with the hot tub work. If that is sufficient, I'm fine. If you want me to get the details, I'm happy to do that as well. Simply let me know if that is related to this or just an academic question, you know,
Yeah, I think the reason we're pushing on this so much is because we were very surprised by what we approved, and then what we had actually seen as the finished project for the front, that work and you did in the front. And that's why we're just trying to clarify what your intentions are and make sure that you follow through with what we were requesting.
Yeah, I want to go back to that. I mean, if they're going to do something different around the screening of that hot tub to what had been proposed and what we had approved, then they need to come back to the committee and resubmit that and get approval for what they're planning to do. I mean, you can't just change, can't have just a random course correction in the middle of it that doesn't come back to the ACC for review. So that's what and I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I'd like to get clarity on that.
Well,
Yeah, so
we have no plans of changing what was agreed upon. So the deck is going to go around the hot tub. There will be a railing at some point around the whole thing, but we have to complete phase 1 of this first. And what was agreed upon at the last meeting regarding that project was that we were going to put planter boxes in to cover the portion of the hot tub that will remain exposed. So we're not deviating from that at all. That's still the plan. And if I could have started this deck project sooner, I would have. We were literally just waiting on the delays from getting approval to the county. It's been an ongoing problem. I understand we're not the only ones that are suffering from the same delays. All permitting has been delayed. I'm not sure why, but they just took forever to even look at our submittal. So finally we got it just a couple weeks ago, and was able to get the contractors scheduled. We were initially looking at second week of June, but they actually were able to finish up other projects and can start working on the footings this week. So they should be there actually today, doing at least dropping off materials and things like that.
Any other comments?
Well, regardless of what we do with this proposed pad and et cetera, I'd like Alan to maybe send us a recap of what was approved by the committee relative to the hot tub screening.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see if we can get a motion on this one. 68 Marigold.
One last comment, sorry, on the patio project. I don't intend at all on starting that one until the deck is finished. So you can be rest assured we're not going to have overlapping projects. That other contractor that would be doing the patio work isn't even available until July anyway, just so that everyone's aware of that.
Okay. You get a motion for this?
I'll move to.
Go ahead, Patrick. All right, Georgine, go ahead. Go ahead. Move to approve. All in favor of Georgine's approval? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Jeff.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let's go to item 14, 18 Louiseview Drive. We've been here before. Got it queued up for us, Joel?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Let me see what I wrote on this one. So this one was actually submitted. Some of you may remember it was submitted last year in 2024. So we are still reviewing this with the 2024 AC policies in consideration. There have been several changes to the home. I think comments from the ACC were to reduce the size of the home. So the property coverage has been reduced from 35% to 33%. The open space has been increased from 50 to 53.5%.
How did they get that?
Let's see.
They got shorter and fatter.
Sorry?
They got shorter and fatter.
Yeah. The overall interior living space too has been reduced significantly with the elimination of the third uppermost floor. Let's see. And I think for some of the footprint changes, I could do, if you give me a minute, I could show maybe some side by side, but I believe some of that left wall of the home has been shifted away from the existing house on lot 8.
Oh, it has been moved.
I think so. The garage, I can kind of pull up a previous plan set here and show you maybe what the previous version looked like. Yeah. So here it is. This is an older version showing 6.8 feet from the property line to the eaves, to the this garage right here, or that looks about 6.12 feet from the property line to this front garage eave corner. Now we're at, 10 feet 9 inches from that same garage corner.
There was a tree in question, the neighbor's tree or a joint tree.
Yeah, it's probably this 22-inch fir tree here. Mark it.
So that's the one that was there was an arborist report for that one. Is that the
That's
one?
correct. Yep,
Okay.
and I think that was included with the packet. And I think this arborist report, what was the determination? I think if it was adequately protected, it could remain. This was from Arboriginal. They did a tree risk assessment. Was that included? That was included. Yeah, I see it on today's agenda. So
Yeah.
recommendation, establish a tree protection zone around this tree. 9-foot diameter fenced exclusion zone. Covered with wood chips. 4 inches from the trunk.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the proximity to that tree is still an issue. Apparently, it can be prevented with some, or not prevented, but we're hoping that it could be saved with some mitigation and some tree protection. Still, it's not their tree to make these determinations. I would feel more comfortable if this tree on the neighbor's property, if they got the permission from the neighbor, because I'm not gonna say that they can make have a dangerous construction zone next to a tree that's not theirs. Whether they can protect it to some extent, it's not my call to make. If it's the neighbor's tree, I think the neighbor should have to approve this. I mean, just because you put some a protection zone around it doesn't mean it is safe. I had a tree damaged on my property that was protected, but nevertheless, it was smashed by the neighbor's tree cutting. So I would not feel comfortable approving this proximity to that tree unless the neighbor approved it.
Well, okay. The arborist, recommendation is that the tree protection zone will be 9-foot diameter.
Yeah, I mean, if there's this, even to have this recommendation, that it appears to me that there is some sort of danger to the tree.
Yeah.
I think this doesn't say that it will definitely not be injured if these measures are taken.
Mm-hmm.
If I had 100% assurance that the neighbor's tree wasn't hurt, I'd be okay with that. But it sounds like there's still some risk.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the arborist recommendation and noting their diameter, the 9-foot diameter, so that'd be 4.5 feet in radius from the tree, and with a at the eaves at 10 feet away, 10 feet 9 inches away. I think the limit of excavation, is would be outside of that bounds of that tree protection zone.
I mean, it sounds like the builders made accommodations for all our other concerns, as far as I can see, but I'm not willing to endanger someone else's tree, their property, because of another construction. Unless she got approval. I mean, if he had approval from the neighbor, that's fine with me. It's not my tree. I just, we're all neighbors here, so we should be friendly.
May I speak at some point?
Go ahead, yeah.
Hi, this is Vijay. I'm actually actively getting reports from an arborist since I do not have access to the April arborist report. And I had requested it, and I understand that because they had paid for it. I'm not suggesting a quid pro quo, But what I am suggesting is, since I, at my expense, did a recorded survey back in September of 2024, that which the neighbor can actually access through the county at no cost, well, the cost of the paper, to get a photocopy. So, meaning I've done the job of getting a recorded survey. And I wanted to actually comment on that, if I may, before we leave this agenda item.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, back on I believe it was the 12th of April. I may be wrong on the date. It was a Saturday, and I found the neighbor and several other people, which I believe also the contractor was with him, and he was actually in the process of dismantling the recorded survey tape. And I happened to look out of my window, the only window that, by the way, I used to record the logging of the trees in 2023, which I believe has been submitted to the ACC previously. And I have a comment on that as well. Well, let me finish with this. So,
Well, Vijay, I mean, is this something that we already reviewed? I think we did see a new marker there that looked like it was maybe 6
no,
inches
it's not a
from.
marker. It's actually it's okay. I did need to address this because there's been a lot of shifting opinions and so forth. Very succinctly, if I could just say that the survey organization that came out, they spoke to the original people, Christie's, who had actually put in the boundary pins, and they said this boundary pin has been moved according to our files. So on the survey, which actually has also been submitted to the ACC, it's indicated in the recorded survey that the boundary pin was moved on the south side, which is closest to Louis View Drive. And essentially what has happened is he had to reestablish a new boundary pin and record it. So that was actually established. Coming fast forward back to to April of this year, when Mrs. Sinek was removing actively the survey tape. And when I asked him what he was doing, he said, well, we're going to put in our own survey and we're going to have our own stakes in here. And I said, you do realize this is a recorded survey. I don't think he understood that. He had enough English and he had someone who was speaking clear English right beside him. And I said, would you please ask Mrs. Sinek to cease and desist from continuing to remove the tape, or I'll have to come out there and call 911. And after a little bit of discussion, they just left the site. The other thing that he asked me for was, he said, do you have the old yellow pins? I said, which pins? He said, to mark the boundaries. And I said, I have nothing to do with that. County had required it to be removed by the surveyor, and it's gone. You only have one survey pin on the south side. The reason I'm mentioning all this is these folk are not good actors. They're not going to be good neighbors. They're going to do stuff, and they're going to pull stuff, which you don't want to hear this right now. And I know it's being recorded, but I want it to be recorded because they have been incrementally trying to destabilize my right to the property, by either stealing some land. I mean, this is like playing silly buggers, if you excuse the expression. I mean, it's just nonsensical stuff. Anyway.
Well, Vijay, it looks like there's enough setback there. That's not an issue anymore.
It's not the setback. It's not the setback. It's the fact that they're constantly trying to undermine what is actually a legally defined boundary line now.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's not anything our committee can really be concerned with. I mean,
well,
if you...
Daniel, I just want, I don't want to belabor the point. You've got a lot of items on the agenda. There's one other thing that they did. They ran a line and taped off with a pink tape the tree that we're discussing right now. And I said, why have you done this? And they said, oh, we're not going to cut down the tree. We just want to mark it. I said, there's no need to mark it. It's already on your survey maps. everything that you submitted, the SPR, all of that. And so they're constantly doing silly stuff,
Well,
which
VJ,
is,
is this the tree that I was talking about
yes,
earlier?
exactly the tree. Exactly the
So
tree.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that this is, this is your tree. I
Yeah,
can't expose it to any risk unless you approve this.
I'm not
Apparently, there are
approving it.
some things that they can do to
Daniel, I'm
make
not
it
approving
safer.
it. And there's one
Okay.
other thing, if I may. I'm sorry to overspeak.
Oh, go
And
ahead.
that is, I do not believe that the foundational root exclusion zone and the critical root zone has been protected. And I am going to actually challenge that. Um, I'm very close to, I'm in discovery right now, and I'm very close to going after these people. I'm stating this loud and clear. This is not going to be taken lying down, and I'll be damned if these people are going to evict me from my home. I'm a senior citizen, and I call this senior abuse, and I'm not going to take it lying down. I
Yeah,
really
I
I
understand
really
your concern.
appreciate the ACC doing everything to protect the integrity of the property. But these people, they don't have a stick in the ground, a building stick in the ground. I've been here for almost 6 years now. Where are my
Yeah.
rights?
I have a
Well,
question. Can I ask a
we're
question
doing
about,
what we can to the extent that we can.
I know you have.
And what it comes down to, in my mind, is the tree. I don't want anything on your property to be in any danger at all. And to the extent that we can, we are going to prevent that.
And
But I mean, as far as property lines,
no,
that's kind of
I'm not
beyond our
discussing.
scope.
Well,
But
it'll
I
have
do
to be
want
a
to
legal
ensure.
thing. It'll have
No,
to be a legal thing. I think I have to
yeah,
stop them legally, and I'm going to go after them for the expense as well. But there's one other thing which is very, very important because it's part of their site plan. And by the way, are they still working on the 2024 site plan? I thought they had to go to the county, get a new plan, and resubmit it because they didn't finish last year. Or are they able to work
Joel,
this?
what's the call on that?
To the best of my knowledge, no. If they're in submitted with the county and that these plans have been, and I'm not sure where they're at
Well,
with county
I
review and
I talked to the
approval.
county. I just want to fill you in. I talked to the county and they said they're still on 2024. And I said, are they able
There you
to do
go.
that? They said, well, they have not officially requested a reopening of this. But from what am I reading of the SPR 2024-0073 is that if they had not finished by whatever and resubmitted an extension approved by the ACC, they had to file a new 2025 SPR. I may be wrong, but I think they're doing an end run by wasting your time by doing this, and they're not even here today.
I
They are
think they
here.
are here.
Yeah, they are here.
Oh, they are.
Joel,
Okay.
Joel, do you have any concerns about that? What he just said?
That would be all county side stuff.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
you're reviewing things for Sudden Valley's ACC policies.
Right. So then they have to resubmit this to the ACC after it's approved by the county, right?
After it's been approved by the ACC,
Right.
if construction has not been started within 1 year, then reapproval is necessary. But because it has not yet been approved by the ACC, that 1 year clock has not started yet.
So what happens to the 2024 application?
So if they get approved, if they get approved today, then they have 1 year to start construction. And if they don't start construction within that 1 year time period, then they need to go back to the ACC and get reapproval. And it will count as a new submission at that time. And then they probably, my thinking is that they would be bound to the 24-25 policies at that point. If it is considered a new submission at that time, or I guess that maybe the 20.
But Joel,
2026
I'm sorry,
policies.
Joel, isn't the 1 year passed from the last submission of the 2024 SPR? It has.
Well,
They didn't do anything last year.
that's because
And
they
I
never
think
got approved.
it never got approved. So they have to go back to the county before they come to the ACC.
Oh, that's all county side stuff. They don't need to have county approval before getting ACC approval. They are separate approvals.
I understand.
Yeah,
But
so if he has to go back to county and county makes him change things because there's been code changes, then
yeah,
the county would handle that. And if he has to make significant changes that affect the appearance And then he would have to come back to the ACC maybe for a construction change request, assuming has been approved.
There seems to be a lot of doubt, Joel, because as you know, as well as everyone else, there are a lot of changes happening all the time. I mean, ACC has changed the 2025 policies in certain areas for construction. But my thing is, I mean, it's very clear to me if you haven't done it in 1 year, and it's right on the last couple of pages of the SPR about
What's this SBR you're referring to?
site plan review.
Okay,
2024.
that is you're talking about Whatcom County?
I'm
site
talking
plan review?
about Whatcom County site plan
So
review.
that's all under Whatcom County's jurisdiction.
Correct. But
ACC, Sudden Valley, we follow the AC policies and the restrictive covenants. And that says after ACC approval, they have 1 year to begin construction.
and that 1 year has passed.
It has not, because this project has not had its initial ACC approval.
I understand ACC is the final approval and the only authority in Sudden Valley. Whatcom County defers to you, but they have their own rules. They actually processed the application before it came to the ACC last year. That's why
Well,
you have
we got the documents we need, right, Joel?
Yes.
And that's all we can really.
I have a couple of questions. Can I?
Dan, go ahead.
Trees are not in my wheelhouse. I'll be the first one to admit that. I'm looking at our notes and it says that we need an arborist report for the 22-inch fir tree on the left side. Is that the one we're talking about? The one that's on the property line that they got an arborist report for?
Actually, it's not
That's
not on
correct.
the Dan. It's not on the property line. It's actually in my property after
All
the
right, but
recorded survey.
That's the one we're talking about. One way or the other.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah, it's not on the line.
When I look at the arborist report, it says the tree of concern is a healthy western hemlock. Is that the same thing?
No, unless it was misidentified earlier. I thought it was a Doug fir. I'm going by arborists that I've spoken to.
Well, the notes from on page 2 of 16 for item 14. Comments from a previous ACC meeting was we need an arborist reports for the 22-inch fir tree on the left side and 3 trees in the front, 8 and another 22-inch alder. The arborist report that's in here identifies the tree of concern as a healthy western hemlock existing between the residents. The tree is 87 feet tall, 14-foot canopy, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't even know if we're talking about the same tree here, are we?
It might be the same tree. If they misidentified it, I don't know. We'll have to get people on site to identify it correctly then.
My guess
ahead.
is if it's misidentified as a fir tree on the survey, it was probably by the surveyors, because I think an arborist would be able to better tell the difference between a fir and a hemlock.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, I agree. I mean, it's a tree, and a lot of trees have to come down. But if this is a shared tree or even a neighbor's tree, I would feel very uncomfortable approving the construction to go ahead.
It's nothing to do with 18 Louis View. It is actually 16 Louis View property.
Well, I think that
tree.
I think, yeah, if I can just get a comment in here, probably gonna like you're gonna like my take on this, I think. I've got some questions about the stormwater, but maybe we don't even need to get to that right now.
Yes.
Here's my take, Daniel. Here's my take. I see some confusion around the property line here. There seems to be a disagreement about what protects this tree and where this tree lies. I have an obligation and a sense of responsibility to the existing homeowners in Sudden Valley. So I'm not comfortable going forward approving a project, even though it looks like they've made a lot of changes and moved in our direction on property coverage and height and so forth and so on. If our approving this has a cloud over it related to this property line and this tree, and that results in one of our existing homeowners in Sudden Valley feeling like they need to take up litigation or legal action against the developer, I'm not comfortable being put in that position to make that determination and side in the favor of the developer in this case. I think those issues need to get resolved very clearly, and the homeowners on around these projects need to either be satisfied or in support or have baseless claims before we can go forward. And it doesn't appear that this is a baseless claim at this point. So
I agree with you, Dan. I'm not sure though exactly what we're asking for.
May I just ask you?
I
Well,
think,
hold
I
on,
think,
VJ. Let me talk to Dan for a second.
Sure.
I think what I would be asking for is some very clear delineation of the property line, staked out, paid for by the developer, however that goes, where we can see like, yeah, everybody agrees this is the damn property line and this is where the tree is. So now we can make a clear decision on where this tree lies, whether it's shared on 16 or on 18. And then if it is shared or if it is on the neighbor's property, then the builder has to reasonably satisfy, not exorbitantly satisfy, but reasonably satisfy the neighbor, that the neighbor's satisfied that this tree is not going to be impacted. I mean, this looks like it's a substantial tree. I wouldn't want a building project next to me to take out one of the substantial trees on my property. So,
Dan, may I point of clarification?
Go ahead, VJ.
I have a recorded survey. I will resubmit it to the ACC. Please look at it. Please have Joel look at it, and he can have his interface with the county auditor. This is a very clear recorded survey, and all that has to be done is to take the survey and put it over the existing map of ACC, with the arborists involved, to show the surveyor has actually indicated by doing the recorded survey that this tree is firmly on 16 Louis View. Previously, it was not clear because tapes were being without any way of substantiating it were being put up. But I did the recorded survey because it was suggested by a member of the ACC very correctly, and I'm glad I did. It was an expense to me, which has not been shared by my neighbor. And therefore, I think I'm well within my rights to say, if this recorded survey shows the tree within my property, then it's my tree.
do we have that recorded survey? I mean, survey is not just a matter of somebody going out there and sticking a pole.
No, this is a county recorded survey.
I know that a recorded survey, a survey has to be recorded at the county. You can't just go, you can go out there.
Correct. It
can't
has
just
been
willy-nilly-
recorded by a surveyor.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You can't just go out there and if you're going to do a recorded survey, it has to be recorded at the county. So if there's been a recorded survey.
It
and
has.
the recorded survey delineated where the trees were, where other landmarks were, I would like to see that.
Well, I don't know about whether they actually marked the trees on there.
Well, if they didn't, then if they didn't mark the trees on the recorded survey, then the surveyor needs
Has
to
put
go
the
out there
stakes in.
and stake the lot against the recorded survey so that you can see. like,
Correct.
here's the recorded survey. Here's the lines. Here's the ribbons. These exist exactly where it's at.
You're absolutely right. It's been done, Dan.
Joel.
I have this photo.
Yeah,
Here.
Joel.
So this is the front left property corner of, this front left property corner of 18, or the front right property corner of 16 Louis View Drive. And this is the difference between these two, where these two corner stakes were found. So the red arrow here is showing, where the red arrow is showing the, excuse me, the survey pen that was surveyed and submitted by the builder. And then I believe, let's make a green one up here, the one surrounded by the rocks.
Yeah, that's the recorded survey boundary.
From the survey from VJ, Mr. Singh here. So it does look like there might be, and we're looking, this is facing the front of the properties here.
This is,
so it looks like it's maybe some inches to the, and maybe a foot.
Joel, excuse me, when did you go out there? It does not look like this right now.
This was actually provided by John Gingrich back on September 3rd, 2024.
Right. So the rocks, the boundary pin in the rocks, that is correct. This post in front was actually being put on by the neighbor after the fact. So it really is not part of the survey.
So
Well, I
proposed
think the
stone-
bottom line is for us, I mean, the ACC can't make determinations on the boundary line and the survey,
Yeah.
but if that tree is still in question, the bottom line for me is that is either a shared tree or all VJ's tree.
It's all mine.
I would like to have his permission to put it in danger, or else the house needs to be moved over enough that the tree is in absolutely no danger. That's the bottom line. I don't really care where the boundary is, but it sounds like it's VJ's tree. At least half of it's his tree. So I'm not going to say that we can put that tree in danger. If it were entirely on the builder's property, fine. Trees have to come down, but it's not my tree to allow to be put at risk. So wherever the line is isn't that important to me. It sounds like it's essentially inconsequential. You can work that out to determine exactly where the property line is, but I think that's not part of what we need to talk about here. I think all I can state at this point is I wouldn't put somebody else's tree in danger.
Daniel?
Yes, go ahead, Alan.
I apologize. We have a hand raised for Vasil who would like to speak.
Yes, Vasil, please.
Yes. Yes. So
Go
We
ahead.
can't hear you, Vasil. Did we lose him, Alan?
He's still on. He's muted now. Vasil, are you there? We may have lost him.
I'd like to hear what he has to say about this.
Yeah, if he gets back on. I mean, both those. Joel, do you know if both those, the stakes don't mean anything to me, but those monuments do. Do you know if those monuments were both recorded monuments?
Yes, they are.
Well, yeah, I don't know that exact information at this point, Dan. No.
Joel, do you have my
Oh
recorded
yeah,
survey?
I'm back. Sorry, but I just the bad connection was.
Go ahead.
I was
Go
kicked
ahead,
out
Vasil.
twice. So the problem the tree between, I don't know, it's my neighbor saying that his tree. So if he not gonna prove me to build a house, what should I do next?
Well, it's not up to him to approve the house or not. It's up to him to approve whether you can put his tree at risk. That's the only thing he can approve.
So if there's any problems with the project, like the house or a survey, I know that I submitted the new project that was like a 3-floor house, and right now there's a 2-floor house. I made a lot of changes, and I would like to know if everything's like good.
Dan, did you have some questions about non-tree related subjects?
Yeah, the stormwater, I just had a question about, let me refresh my memory on that.
Yeah.
We had talked about the stormwater going out the back end. I mean, it looks like it's gonna get, it would require an easement to go out the back. Sudden Valley just generally doesn't grant easements. Did they give an easement to go, or so you're gonna pump that up? But
That's correct.
no houses or lots or anything on the back side. So if that stormwater drain, if that pump fails or the sump pump plugs up or something like that, and it ends up overflowing, it's just going to go kind of drain back down into that open space back there, right?
That's correct. And all the stormwater systems are designed with a overflow.
Right. I think that was the concern I had. I want to make sure, just being consistent, like on the Valley View, they wanted to pump up also, and we said no, because if that thing fails, you're going to be flooding your neighbors down below you. But there are no neighbors. The next thing is the road back there. Yeah. Okay. And
yeah, that's correct, Dan. Here's what you have the land glide out, but
yeah, no, I could see that's all park space back there. How about the sewer? What happens with the sewer? The sewer doesn't. Where does the sewer go to?
Their sewer. Let's see. I believe there is a sewer line down there. Let me see if it was on this plan set here.
So do they get an easement? Do they get an easement from this association? The association will get easements for sewer lines, just not stormwater, right?
So yeah, there is a manhole right there, that S25-4. So Sudden Valley's current position is that if there's existing sewer infrastructure in place, they will grant an easement to connect for sewer.
Okay, just not stormwater.
Correct.
All right. That satisfies my.
Yeah, go ahead.
You there, Vasil? Can't hear you.
So I think Daniel, to me, it all comes down to this tree. If we've got, the picture that Joel was showing earlier of the monuments, those are on the front left and front right of the two properties respectively. It would be more as important to see where the monument is on the back left and the back right, because you'd string that line between them. So, I mean, they can be off by a few inches on the front, but where it goes to on the back is going to be the biggest question. So for me, I want to see like everybody agree, like, yep, this is the property line and this is where the tree's at, and it's on the neighbor's property or it's on the property line. And in that case, we can make a better decision as to whether the builder is taking the appropriate steps on the tree or whether he's not, and whether the neighbor has a say in this tree or whether the neighbor doesn't have a say in this tree. But at this point, we don't have that information, so I don't feel comfortable moving forward. I think we just need to move on to this.
Joel, how could we get that confirmation?
Sorry, confirmation
for I guess the property lines. I mean, we have the drawings here, but I mean, is there something else we can get to clarify?
We could ask the builder to stake and string that property line, and then we could walk down the line and see where that line is relative to the tree.
I'm sorry, Joel. This has already been recorded and with the county. So for the builder to do it means that you're giving him the leeway to do whatever he wants. I've taken the time and the expense of getting a recorded survey with the county. It should count for something. It's a legal definition.
Yeah, so we'll take those pins that are put in the ground by the surveyor.
I will send you again.
Hold on,
Please,
BJ.
please,
Let Joel
do,
finish, BJ.
Yeah, please,
Joel.
but please do send us the survey. Yeah, we would sure that could be valuable. But what we should do, Dan has asked for, how do we make that determination where this tree is? These survey pins, these yellow pins that are put in the ground by your surveyor, denote the corner. So if we establish an above ground stake, like what you see in the photo here with a string running down it from one corner to the other, that would show us visually where that property boundary is.
There was a survey.
Yeah, I
then
think
we can look and see where that line falls and if it is touching the tree or exactly where that tree is.
It's not even touching the tree.
Okay. BJ, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to defer to Joel as to determine what constitutes a proper property line, because I have no other expertise and Joel's our guy. And we'll see where it hits that tree. I
Daniel,
mean, I can't imagine that it's going to move
I'd
enough.
be happy to meet with you on the property and we can do it together.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't touch the tree, that's fine. I have ACC and myself, we have no stake and
Joel, can you
where that tree
can you commit
located.
to being to meeting with me and walking? You can have the contractor also, but I need to be there.
We could work that out.
And I have one other request, Daniel. At this point, the request is very simple. I do not want Mr. Cynic or Vasily to come onto my property. They're damaging my vegetation on the steep slope on the eastern side. So I am banning them from the property unless I'm there.
Okay.
And I've given them written permission.
I got you.
I have one more.
Vasil, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. So I know this problem with the tree took a lot of time, but I would like to know more about the new project I submitted, because I know the tree was like, the problem was with tree like whole year. And
Vasil, I think from what I'm reading from the committee, I think we appreciate everything that you've done. You've done just about everything we've asked for. Does the committee have any other concerns other than the question of the property of the tree?
No, I will make them.
I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Okay, no matter what, no matter where the property line is, VJ has an interest in the tree, either half or complete, correct?
Right. I believe so.
All right, the arborist reports had recommendations for tree protection, which would take effect even if the tree is all entirely on VJ's property. They still would have to comply with that, the builder, correct?
Yes, they should.
Okay, so I guess the thing is, what if, then I guess we're trying to approve if that action for protection of that tree is ample. It doesn't matter if he owns it completely or owns half of it, that tree has to be protected. And are we approving that protection of the tree, or is that not appropriate? We've got an arborist report saying that should take care of it.
Well, he's not guaranteeing that the tree won't be harmed. That is a protection, and it's not my tree. If that were my tree, I would not be comfortable with that. And I'm putting myself in VJ's shoes and saying that he wouldn't be comfortable with that either.
That's right.
Do we need
because if it's even on the arborist report, there's a question of there's some danger to the risk to the tree. And that's not my tree, that's VJ's tree. At least we know at the very least it's half his tree. So he should have some say in any risk assessment for this tree.
Well, then
that's all I'm saying.
Should he have another arborist report from his own arborist saying if that tree would be protected?
It's up to him. Whatever would make him comfortable with that. This is his tree. He needs to make the determination whether it could be put in danger.
No, I do not want to put it in danger.
This is from the 2025 policies, and I think this was, I can double check it with the 2024 tree protection zone, but the current policies 2025 do provide for, now I'll let you read it.
For every inch of trunk diameter, extend, what did that say?
1 foot at breast height.
Well, so it says a 22-inch fir, and the other one has got 20 inches hemlock. So there's a question to me as to whether we're even talking about the same tree or not. Probably are, but we don't know. Patrick, is the way I look at it is, if the VJ's got an interest in the tree, there's an arborist report. He's not satisfied with that arborist report. I mean, we can't take this arborist report. We have to take it at face value unless we got something else. But I don't want to put myself in a position where we got an upset existing homeowner in Sudden Valley because we haven't clearly this project has not clearly defined the property lines, who owns the tree, whether it's half owned or all owned, and whether this is adequate protection.
So I should make a new inspection, right?
A new what?
A new survey.
Whatever would satisfy VJ with regard to that tree.
Yeah.
As far as his whether he's happy with where exactly the line turns out, that's not our concern.
Yeah.
My only concern is his property, and I'm not going to approve putting it at risk. I think other than that, what you did with the property, I think it checks all the boxes for our committee. I mean, is there any other concern other than the property of the neighbor?
Can we ask VJ what he thinks an appropriate level of protection would be for that tree?
Well, I'm actually working on, thank you, Joe. I'm actually working on an arborist report, and I think there are some issues. I do not expect everyone to have, the professional knowledge. It's very hard. You guys are doing a fantastic job, and thank you for that. as far as the tree protection, it's partially covered in the HOA regs, the ACC regs, but the arborists will talk about a foundational protection, root protection, and then a critical root zone protection, which extends into the neighbor's property, unfortunately. And as a reference point, I'll give you that massive 197-foot Douglas fir that is on the northeast corner of my property. And that protection, critical root zone, is far greater than even the hemlock or the Doug fir that is on the property, the one that we're talking about. So we have some issues about critical root protection because, and let me just say this, that the foundational root is basically you're doing the basics of protecting the foundational roots. But then you have the critical root zone where the contractor's heavy equipment can kill the tree by inches. And by that, I mean, it can fall tomorrow, it can fall next windstorm. And by the way, when you start taking down a lot of trees, that there are 18 trees, well, there are 2 trees that are already down. They should be part of the assessment from 2023. But all the trees that are near Louisview Drive, we have not even talked about wind shear, which is our forests have trees that are close to each other, which is what
Well,
has protected us.
we do consider that, VJ. I mean, we're looking at the whole picture, and we've
But when
already
you
considered that.
but when you
This is
take out those
specifically
trees,
your
no,
tree.
I'm actually talking about this tree. When you take out those trees, this tree then becomes vulnerable, even more so because of the wind shear.
No, we
Well,
understand.
VJ, I think at this point, if you could,
You were down right.
we need an arborist report to state how far away from your tree we need to be to keep it safe. I mean, if it's 10
I
feet,
don't mean to
15 feet, I
jest,
don't
but it's
know.
rule of thumb. Until you can see it under your rule of thumb, under your thumb, you're not far enough.
We do need. I know you're having issues with the builder, but I think we need to satisfy the builder and help him determine what he needs to do to satisfy, reasonably satisfy you for the protection of this tree. In my mind, and I think the committee's mind, he satisfied everything else that we were looking for and asking for. But again, this is your tree. We want you to be satisfied and with reasonable assurance that it won't be injured. So we need you to provide something to Vesile to give him, permission to start this build. I mean, and it all hinges on this tree. This is your property. We want you to be comfortable with it within the constraints of what
Frankly, I
arborist
provided
says.
thank you, Daniel. I provided a solution last year, and it was not taken seriously. I'd said, I think Diane was the one who actually said, no, it takes too long. And that was very simply switch the plots.
Well, that's not on the table. It's
I know it's not, but if you did that, I'd have no objection to it.
Well, that's we're
seriously.
No, I understand that, but we're asking for a reasonable assessment.
That's reasonable because this can drag on for a long time.
I think what we need is for you to get an arborist report that would show that the arborist report that we have is not valid.
Patrick, I agree with you, and I will get that. But first, I need to know why my recorded survey.
Already, we need to press on. Get us that arborist report, and then we can make a decision.
Yeah, I think that's what this is all hinging on. So that's, there's a lot of stuff being thrown in the air, but I think we need to just hear how far away from that tree an arborist would like to see it before there's any risk to it.
So I'll make a motion.
Vasile, did you have any final comments?
Yeah, I want to say thank you for that, but I just wonder how long, what time does my neighbor has to prove the documents for this? That's because I know that I spent over 2 years, I think so, on that project. And if you think that's probably
Vasile, I think if you got an arborist report that could tell us that that tree is not in danger in any way,
yeah, I talked with
we
this guy, and he told me that every time that we gonna like when we gonna dig the ground, he will come and check the roots not gonna be damaged and all stuff. He will visit me 2 years. He told me.
well we don't want maybe, because sometimes mistakes are made and we say oops and move on. We need to hear from an arborist that this tree is not in any danger. We don't want looking at roots or anything like that. We want an arborist to say, if you move this tree X number of feet away, it'll be fine. That's all we need. We need it from either BJ or from you. And I think that's the only thing that would satisfy us at this point. Otherwise, I think we're good with this project.
No, all the other
And that
changes-
you could do that as quick as you want. We don't have to wait till BJ gets it. It has to be something that we're satisfied with. As long as we're satisfied that the tree's not in danger, we can move forward.
But he gonna be disagree again, so he will take a time again. He'll say, I want to report because your reporting is not correct and all stuff. He's doing this every time. So if
we get a legitimate arborist report, not just a invoice, if we get a legitimate arborist report, we'll review that. And you know, if the tree is not in danger, as far as we're concerned, it's not in danger. So there's nothing that BJ would have to say about it.
I think at this point we're recognizing that VJ has either a full or partial interest in this tree. So in order for us to go forward, he either has to say, I'm comfortable with the plans as submitted, which he hasn't done and isn't going to do, or we need to have an arborist report that says, under no circumstances is the construction plan for 16 Louise View Drive or 18 Louise View Drive going to compromise the long-term integrity of this tree. Absent that, we can't approve it. I'll make a motion to deny the submittal with that direction, that either that the contractor either get the permission, written permission from the neighbor to go forward with the plans as submitted, or provide a certified arborist report that says that this tree will not be compromised as a result of the construction.
We do have, I mean, the arborist report does conclude that this tree is in good health and should remain so for many years with the care and direction described in the above section.
Yeah, we've got that from the arborist.
Yeah, so the builder's already got the arborist report. The neighbor is raising concern about it.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with the arborist report because I haven't seen it. It has not been
DJ,
provided to me.
when is your arborist scheduled?
My arborist is actually writing a report.
All right.
So it should be any day now?
No, I don't have a date.
So
Yes, your arborist has come out and looked at the tree?
They have.
I will amend my motion to say, motion to deny pending resolution of this tree issue that can be resolved one of two ways. Either the builder gets permission from the neighbor to go forward with the plans as submitted, or the neighbor submits his own arborist report, at which time we can take this up again, exclusively related to this tree issue.
Do we want to put a time limit on when we have that alternative arborist report submitted?
Within 30 days.
Month.
Within 30 days.
So should we say well, he'll have to have it.
Well, he's working on the report now, so we could have it for our next meeting.
Yeah, so if the next meeting would be the 19th, the following one would be July 3rd.
I would say by the July 3rd meeting, 30 days, give it 30,
Okay.
give it two ACC cycles.
So we would have to receive it by the 26th of June at noon in order to apply it to the July 3rd meeting.
Yep. So that's the plan, VJ, is we put everything on hold pending this tree issue. The builder has given us an arborist report that is, while very light, does seem to indicate that the tree won't be compromised. I have some questions whether they got the right tree. They identified a hemlock. The other one says fir. We can take that up later. But in the meantime, I think you need to go get an arborist report that either says what he's doing is okay, or here's why it's not okay and what needs to be done to make it okay. Okay, we've got a motion on the table.
May I ask a question,
Alan,
Daniel?
go ahead.
Thank you. Dan, to repeat what I thought I heard you say, you want this is being denied pending resolution of the tree issue. The tree issue can be resolved one of two ways. Either the builder gets the neighbor's approval regarding the tree, or two, the neighbor gets an arborist report?
The neighbor
Or the-
submits an arborist report within 30 days. That gives us additional information to look at. Otherwise, we're going to have to go on the arborist report that the builder has provided.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
That's fair.
That's what I
very
was going to
fair.
say.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, I think that's clear. Thank you for everybody working through that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so thankful for this. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Okay. Let's go to 23. 10 Shooting Star. Alan, we got other information about this. Was that part of this application or is this
There were two things. There was request for car parking on the street for both 8 and 10, and then a request for a tree removal for 8 only.
but you sent us some information about
There was a narrative that Slav provided that spoke to the benefit of the parking area, that it would not be gravel, it would be an ecologically friendly surface. Mike Brock from maintenance said that that would be beneficial, and he went along with Slav and Ilya's suggestion for long-term parking in front of 8 and 10, not just temporary construction parking.
okay, so I guess we would amend item 24. Is that something we could do? Because it explicitly says temporary parking pad will be temporary only during construction.
Correct. No, we can amend that, yeah.
Did everybody see Mike Brock's assessment of that plan?
Yes.
It was an email.
So was that the information that Alan sent around, the pictures and so forth?
Yeah, and I asked to get Mike's opinion on that parking.
Yeah, no, that was good. I appreciate it. I'm not a big fan of the parking. The only thing I would say is like, if that's the route we're gonna go, then it's not a construction change request for a temporary parking pad being restored to the original condition. It looks like it's going to be a permanent parking area done with pavers and grass area instead.
Well, actually, I would guess that that's not what they would do while they're working on construction, because
Right.
that could kind of demolish it. So maybe that would be a different application.
I think, Joel, keep me honest, I think we're going to move forward with that quarry spall during the initial construction period to ease, heavy machinery going back and forth between the street and the lot. And
That's what I would guess.
yeah,
Well, Slava's here, right?
yeah, Slav's here.
Yeah, I'm
Slav,
here. Good morning.
Good morning. Was your intention to put the quarry spall there during construction, then possibly do that other approach afterwards?
So I'm here to have a discussion with you guys, relying on your expertise and previous experience on this. I'm open to that suggestion. That works for me just fine. As a new kid in the neighborhood, coming in here, we realized a lot of problems. First of all, was the biggest one is the garbage. The truck can only back into neighborhood to pick up the garbage, and because of their mechanism side.
Excuse me, Slav, just a second. Dan, have you been to this site at all?
No.
Were you there? No, it's a very congested area, and we were concerned about any kind of parking at all in that space. There's like a circle, and there's real parking issues there. A lot of people are parking on the street. It's just kind of a mess there. So there's no question at all that he needs to create a parking space for construction. That was our assessment when we went out there a few weeks ago. So go ahead, Slav.
Yeah, so just to introduce you guys, the garbage cans were always in front of lot 10 and lot 8, and because there's a cul-de-sac way behind this not cul-de-sac, alley behind this
Yeah,
cul-de-sac.
these were vacant lots, so everybody decided that was the space they were gonna put their trash cans.
Yeah, and we brought a suggestion of putting them on the opposite side of the street, but the truck can only back in into our area. And they kind of need to be in front of our properties. And we, as new kids on the block, we're willing to work with that, and that's totally fine. And it helps the machinery overall. And I think this is going to be a long-term solution for the neighborhood improvement. You know, there's a bit of cost with these pavers and culverts and everything, but I think, you know, to be respectful to the neighbors and the whole community, I think we are willing to take the cost obligation to improve this area. So this is a long-term solution. It helps the neighborhood and it would help us during the construction. So if you guys suggest that we put culverts and put X amount of, you know, drain rock for now at the bottom, because there's a big drainage issue. Even right now, there's mud and all that. It's not drying out. It's just staying there. I think Alan's gonna bring up some trees later on, possibly that are
Yeah.
in the way in that. So if you guys suggest that way and then do the pavers with the grass at the final inspection, that works for us just fine.
Yeah, I guess I would feel more comfortable just approving or, you know, not approving the temporary parking at this point. And once we get the paperwork as part of the application, then we can look at that. Based on what Mike has said, it sounds like it's a good idea for that space. I wanted him to weigh in on that. But because we don't have that as part of our agenda right now, maybe we'll just hold off on that.
Okay, what would really help me if you guys would do some partial approval on this is that before we move fully into these lots, start working to solve this drainage mud issue. So if you guys could approve putting in the culverts and the gravel across the whole thing for now, and then we can discuss whether it could stay that way to move forward with the top coverage with these pavers and the grass.
Has that plan been looked at, Joel? As far as the drainage?
So I don't know. I don't know yet if Mike has. I haven't seen the email response from Mike. I should comment though that it sounds like there's a temporary parking that's being proposed currently.
Yeah.
And then there was another email I saw, I think, explaining that there may be some desire for some permanent parking. I think, but that was on the other side of the driveway. Is that correct?
Well, basically between the driveways is where it would be, and that's a long-term solution for the neighborhood garbage cans.
Yeah. So long-term would be to make it permanent. There has been, and these.
Actually, Mike actually said that it would help with the snow removal in that area too.
Okay. Yeah, I think the only concern or the issue I'd like to comment about is that, and this is it has just come up for discussion. I know city and county are discussing stormwater improvements, and Sudden Valley is part of that conversation. And I think part of that, one of their bullet points was about creating roadside parking spaces, and the need to mitigate the phosphorus and design to treat the stormwater runoff from those parking spaces, those newly created roadside parking spaces. And this SCCA homeowner stormwater workbook does talk about it and provide the detail for it. This is a little bit of some news to us right now. I think they just had a meeting yesterday with the city and county, a joint meeting talking about some of these things. It says additional phosphorus can be achieved by construction of roadside parking area if conditions are suitable and permission is obtained by SVCA. There is a detail F for more information. The design detail will also be required by SVCA for any new roadside parking area constructed. But I'm not sure yet if there is a minimum square footage criteria that needs to be met before this sort of treatment trench below roadside parking needs to be implemented.
Is that for temporary parking too?
No, I don't think so. So that's what I was
Okay.
going to move on to say. If I think probably temporary, this might be granting temporary parking may be acceptable as is. Just to put in some culvert and a gravel, as long as it's removed. But I think if it is going to be permanent, this stormwater treatment system detail, and possible requirement for it needs to be considered if this is going to be made permanent.
Okay,
those
so we'll
those-
consider that whole permanent part of it at a later date, I think. But as far as you're concerned, that doesn't affect this temporary parking.
To the best of my knowledge.
Gotcha. So a question for you guys, if I could have a word.
Go ahead.
So we proposed per recommendations from the rules and guides, type 1 basin in between, but that's for permanent purposes. If you guys don't see it yet that way, then if we're going to move forward with temporary, then that basin would not go in there.
That'd be a good question for Mike Brock to approve. Yeah.
So this would go to Mike after us, right, Joel?
Yes. This will go to Mike no matter what.
Okay.
So Joel, what you just shared, are those draft guidelines that the city and the county are proposing or working on?
These have been existing for a while, and there's let's see, how do I
Do
say
they want to
this?
see these like this phosphorus program on any parking spaces that are approved by Sudden Valley?
That's what we need to figure out. That's still pending. There was something I saw that said there was maybe a 500 square foot threshold.
Yeah, correct,
Right?
Joel. I was
Is
waiting
that
to
right, Alan?
jump in. Yeah, no more than 500 square feet for a parking spot, which is huge.
And
So
then it needs treatment.
correct.
Okay.
And then so this, all right, so setting that aside, this is not fitting in that description.
Doesn't look like it.
What we've got here is, in front of us is a request to install temporary construction parking.
Correct. That was the original request, was a culvert and temporary parking, and that was updated with the pavers and grass.
All right, but the request hasn't been updated. So if we're gonna approve anything today, all we can approve is the temporary construction parking.
Correct.
And the
If
culvert.
And the culvert. If the contractor wants us to approve the paver approach, the other thing we're talking about, then that's gonna have to be a resubmittal. That's gonna have to be a resubmittal anyway, but if they don't want to do it twice, then they're gonna have to pull this, or we'll deny this, and then they can submit for temporary construction parking and permanent, or one permanent parking.
Well, it sounds like he doesn't even want to do it while he's still in construction. Is that correct, So
let me explain myself. So the question is more, if you guys approve it as a temporary, and have intentions of improving a permanent, I don't mind getting more details on the permanent one. And to install that basin, it would just require me, 4x4 area to be changed. So at this point, basically to create area for that basin to go into. But if you guys approve it today with intention future, and you guys like this idea, we could put the culvert throughout the whole thing, put the gravel, keep it temporary for now so we can access into our lots easier, because that's what the problem is with all the drainage and mud. And then if you, by the end of this month or next meeting, I could provide full description and better for the permanent with the ecologically green space. This would help for mainly for garbage, drainage, and any service vehicles in the area for the
But-
neighborhood.
So
Daniel,
our action today doesn't have intentions, it just has action. So if we take action today, it's going to be to approve this temporary construction. And if
Okay.
nothing happens after that, then when the construction's done, all this has got to get ripped out.
Correct.
All right.
Alan, did you have something?
I did. I just wanted to add, when we talk about a longer term solution, when Mike and I went out and visited the site, The committee approved some tree protection barriers, 2x4s arranged around some trees, and they've done that. What we discovered when we went out there is some of those trees are directly in the ditch, about a half a foot to a foot in front of the culvert. And so when we come back and talk about the long-term solution, we may have to talk about having those trees removed because they'll be
Okay.
counterproductive to the culvert work.
Okay, so that's a totally different issue, I
It
guess.
is. That's why I didn't bring it up, but for transparency's sake, I just wanted to mention that's going to be a problem in the future.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
Okay.
So do we have enough to make a motion on this?
Can I ask one more comment?
Yes.
During any of this temporary parking, we will not get close to those trees that Alan is talking about, because we definitely want to hear from you guys before. So basically, those trees are not going to be touched at all,
Okay.
nor
But they'll have
parking in that
protection,
area.
right?
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. All right. Committee, are you satisfied with the answers for that?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Patrick.
What's most advantageous to you? Is to have the approval for the temporary now and resubmit later for the permanent, or to deny this and resubmit for a permanent one at the next meeting?
It's advantageous for me to have temporary due to the reason that I could start working on this culvert and have access to removing the logs that have been cut down. I was really hoping to meet with you guys on Tuesday, but then realized the meeting changed, and I was hoping to have you more prepared with permanent. This is more to help the neighborhood. As the more I started thinking, I mean, the garbage didn't get picked up last week because there was a truck dropping off the bathroom, and the street is squeezed, and I found more issues after I submitted the temporary one.
Okay, well, let's move forward with this one, and we look forward to your other proposal, I guess, soon.
Yep, hopefully within next or the following meeting.
Okay, you good with that, Patrick?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion
For number 23?
for 23? Yes.
One thing, I apologize. The culvert size overall, we're proposing a 12-inch.
For
And
the
that would,
temporary?
no, it just a side note.
Okay.
The culvert size is 12-inch across, and that's basically across the whole thing, and that's basically how it's going to stay, even over our driveways when we move forward.
Okay. Yeah, Mike will look at that.
Hey, Joel, I may be confusing projects, but I thought I saw a question being asked about the dimension of a culvert being over large.
Yes, that was
It's not this one, right?
Wintercrest Way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Withdrawn. I don't
Yeah,
want to
this one
confuse
has 12-inch culvert type
Yeah.
A catch basin.
You're fine. Keep going.
Okay. All right, we need a motion.
Okay, so I move to approve item 23 is submitted.
As the temporary parking. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're good with that. You want to look at item 24?
I move to approve item 24 is submitted.
I have a comment regarding that, if possible.
Yeah, go ahead.
We spoke with Alan a little more. The 8-inch cedar behind it is completely dead and close to it. I'm hoping if you guys could include that as well. 8-inch, I don't have to have approval, but
It's the
because
next one. It's the next one.
oh,
Stop.
okay. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
So we're talking about one tree, right?
For now, I guess.
It's
Now we're
item.
talking about the culvert and parking.
There's two parking ones. 8 and 10.
Yeah. There's 23
Oh,
is
right,
10,
right.
24 is 8, and the tree removal for 8 is number 25.
And Patrick made a motion on 23 and we approved it, and he made a motion on 24.
Correct. Need a vote.
Okay, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Now we got a tree, and it looks like we got one tree requested, and they're asking to throw in an 8-inch for free.
Well, basically, we realize that it's completely dead, but it's in the survey. I don't want to be having questions later. Hey, where did that tree go? But 8-inch doesn't really require approval because it's within the parameters.
No, 6-inch, 8-inch
Oh.
does require.
Okay, sorry, I'm confusing county.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
And
they're
it's,
both dead. You can see them in the picture, one after the other one. One already fell 2 years ago and broke this big one neighbor's fence. They've complained about it, and it's a danger to any structure over there. But the other one is in the same condition. It's both dead trees.
Looking
I
at
personally don't
the,
have a problem with
looking
that.
at the site plan, it shows, are you talking about the 8-inch cedar that's closer to the house?
The 8-inch cedar that's behind the 36-inch hemlock.
Well, that's the
They're
one.
both in the red
circled, and then
circle.
There's another 8-inch cedar that's just behind the next, near the patio. So what's the
That
second 8-inch cedar that you're proposing to take out?
the 8-inch further. This by patio is the 6-inch.
Do you see page 2, Dan?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. I see one that's circled. I don't see.
Well,
he's
there's
asking
the
for a
cedar
second
that's
one.
right next to it. It's in that same red circle.
Oh, okay. So he wants the 36-inch hemlock and the 8-inch cedar.
Yeah.
Correct.
So looking at the picture on page 1, are those the two right next to each other there?
Yep, the hemlock is broken at the top, 36-inch, and the cedar is standing right behind it. That's all dead. You can see going up.
But on the request, it looks like you're just requesting one tree to be removed.
Initially, when I put the request in the beginning of the May, it was the big 36, but then we realized that 8-inch is dead as well.
So are we comfortable just taking him at his word that it's dead, or do we approve the one today and make him come back, or do we say, why don't you withdraw this request and come back with both of them next time?
I think it looks like a dense enough area back there that
Yeah, I think it's dead.
I'd feel comfortable with it. Do you have a problem with it, Dan?
No, I
Okay.
defer to you on the tree stuff.
Okay, so could we get a motion to
Okay,
include the
I'm-
other tree?
I move to approve the removal of the 2 trees on item 25 that are marked by the red circle on the site plan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we got through 23, 24, and 25.
Thank you so much, team.
Thanks. All right.
Thank goodness those weren't on a property line.
I know. I waited for an hour to get to this one. Thank
Makes
you.
a world of difference. Thank you.
Item 12, Lad.
Vlad, okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't write his name down. Okay. Item
I'm here.
12.
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
7 Maple Court. Just looking for it on my computer. Anybody have any comments about this one?
I think my only comment was the driveway. I mean, it technically falls within the driveway slope limits, just barely, but what does it look like from a from a neighborhood standpoint? Like, is it backing out onto a busy street? Is it gonna create any
You know,
problems?
we didn't visit this one.
Are we gonna need a bunch of off-street parking? Or are we gonna end up with off-street parking?
Yeah, we didn't visit this property. Um, do you have any opinion on that at all, Joel?
Maple Court is a little bit more of a narrower road, at least down when it gets down below. So we're going downhill here from as we move to the north. And, you know, there is no roadside parking being proposed right now.
Well, it's never intended.
Yeah, I'd have to go out there on site and like take a look around for those elements and see. But just based off my memory, I know it does get narrower down there. You get to the asphalt.
And I think I looked this up on Landglide. It says it's a double lot. It still shows the lot line, but it's that lot line has essentially been removed for the purposes of the approval, right? I mean, it's not like they can't ever, they're technically encroached on the second lot, but at least according to Landglide, that second lot doesn't exist anymore. It's all just one large lot now.
So this is a merged lot?
Right.
Okay. And they can never divide it again.
Right. That's what it, yeah, to the best of my knowledge. One little, I mean, a couple of things I could talk about.
Go ahead, Joel.
You know, on the spec sheet, they are proposing this cylindrical lighting here, and I made a comment, you know, ACC to review spec sheet, lighting, trees, or sorry, trees and spec sheet. And so this type of lighting we commonly see. It is shining upward, and that goes against the AC policies.
Yeah. Joel, now when you buy those, do they generally have a cap that they put on there, or
it
as an option?
It depends on the model.
Okay.
Most of them do have like a glass. The ones that do shine upward do have a glass top. A lot of them that I've seen, and as a correction to that, to come in line with the policy, the builder will, you know, remove the glass top and spray paint the inside or the outside of it black, or put some other cover on there so that it isn't shining upward. So that's one thing I want to note, that, you know, the lighting should be downward shining only.
The one thing that stood out for me is, well, the question I had, we don't have the existing, the lines for the existing homes.
Yeah, there are.
I had a question about the heat pump or air conditioner that would be put out there. Do we have an indication where that would be?
I don't think we have that information. Our policies only, I think, only require for the location of the propane tank.
Yeah, my concern would be that if the house is right next to that, and if they decide to put a heat pump or anything in that space, it could be kind of loud, so we might require some sort of a sound barrier.
Yeah, let me see where those houses are located. Which lots they're on. Which lot did I say? Yeah, there is a house to the north. 9 Maple Court. And then there is one, I think, to the rear at 28 Jasper Ridge Lane.
It's kind of odd that you would have that whole space and you would build your house right up against the edge. What who do we have? Vlad? Is that
Yeah,
Vlad?
this is Vlad, yeah.
Yeah, Vlad, why is the house pushed all the way up against one
To the
side of
left. That's what the plan. I purchased this lot already. Plan was it with the
Okay.
county permit? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
just go from that, you know.
Do you know
Yeah, I
where
just
the heat pump or air conditioner would be positioned?
I think we're just gonna do it um not heat pump but furnace, you know. There's no heat pump on the plan, so we're not gonna put a new heat pump. We're just gonna
Okay.
do the furnace, you know,
Okay.
in the garage.
Okay.
Yeah, if you moved it kind of back into the middle a little more, you could put a bit of a different driveway in there and probably take the slope out.
Yeah, there's a lot of space there.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of space here. I'm thinking like maybe just push it to the right a little bit, you know, like make it because we have a plenty space there, you know, if you guys don't mind.
No, I think that would be preferable.
The driveway goes down too, right? Like it slopes down from the road, not up.
Yeah, it goes down a little bit, yeah. It's gonna be like pretty much flat, yeah.
So if you slid the house back a little ways, does that have to do the math on that, but if you slid the house back, is that gonna help with the driveway slope or is it just gonna make it worse?
Or if I push it back, it's gonna be worse, yeah. I can move to the right a little bit, you know. But, you know, because the lots itself is sloping down. Or I
Well,
can do it like,
I'm
you
sure
know,
your neighbor would be happier if you moved over a little bit. And if you could mitigate that driveway at all, I think that would help too.
yeah.
If the elevation doesn't change, then it doesn't look like it, just based on what we're seeing there. It doesn't look like the elevation changes a whole lot. If you shifted it to the right, you could leave the driveway entrance off Maple the same spot and then just kind of elongate it on a bit of a turn, and that would reduce the slope. I just know that those short, steep driveways they're a pain. Long,
Yeah,
steep
it's short
driveways
and
are a
steep.
pain too, but they're not as much of a pain.
So does
Yeah,
this
it's
flatten out at the top before it goes into the garage? Or the bottom, whatever. The nearest area, Joel, it has to be flat right there, or
Yeah, the existing grade, wait, the existing grade there does look like it's a little flatter on top.
okay.
Currently, based on the topography lines. So it's got a dark driveway from the edge of the road here. At 8 degrees, and it does provide for a little bit of a swale here to catch the stormwater, and then some. Looks like about 10 feet of more flat driveway. So the driveway slope, yeah, you know, could be reduced further if it was a straight line from the edge of the road to the garage slab, but you do need to have at least some amount of. He's got to get his stormwater into his stormwater system, and then maintain the proper elevation to run that stormwater system into the ditch. And so if that pipe gets too far down here in elevation, he might have to install a pump and then pump it uphill to get to that same ditch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If we're going to flow storm water with gravity.
From that drawing, it doesn't look like 14%. Is that it doesn't look like that bad a driveway.
Oh, the driveway? We can measure it.
That doesn't look too scary to me.
Let's go. This. Yeah, so 8 degrees.
the driveway, yeah, it's 8 degrees. And we got 20 feet driveway in front of the house, plus from the property line to the road, it's about 20 feet there. So it should be like about 40 feet driveway gonna be there.
8 degrees is 14% slope.
Okay. And we've got, what is the distance from the property line on the left side? Is that
From
5 feet?
from where to where, Dan?
From on the left side to the property line, is that 5 feet?
The left side of the property line to
The setback there, is that 5 feet on the left?
oh, in the front here we've got 20. Is it showing where this 20-foot setback line is
No, I'm
located?
sorry, on the left side of the house. When you're
Oh,
looking at
sorry.
the house, the left side.
Yeah, left side of the house, we're at 5 feet here.
Yeah, that's pretty tight to have all that space on the right side and push it all the way 5 feet. I'm just thinking about the neighbor next door. I don't know where the house actually sits. But it could potentially be just 10 feet away from the other house.
Yeah, the neighbor is farther away on the left, so it's not like 5 feet with the property line. So it's about like maybe 30 feet away or so.
So when you bought the plans, the house was 5 feet away from the property line with all that space on the other side?
Yeah, that's what was on the plan, but yeah, I can, like, if you guys approve, I can, like move it to the right, couple feet. I mean, get more space from the property line. It doesn't affect anything, I think.
Yeah, I think I would like to see, if I were the neighbor, I would definitely want to see it pushed over a little bit anyway. If you got the space, do it.
Yeah, that's what, like, it's probably a good idea to do it.
And then just maybe put some kind of texture on the driveway. 14 is, it's in what, our legal limits, but it's still a bit steep. So I think we would need some kind of broom finish or something on that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, there's gonna be like some texture. Make sure it's good.
Yeah.
Like,
The other thing, if we can move this thing over, I mean, I appreciate you willing to work with us. If we could move this thing over, given that it's double lot and we got a ton of open space and property coverage to work with, if you could put a little concrete on the, if we're looking at, stand on the street looking at the house, if you put like a concrete extension on the left side of the driveway where somebody could back out of the garage and then turn and drive up the driveway. I just know that like backing up a steep driveway onto a road is really, really tough to do. You see what I'm saying? Where somebody could back out of the garage, back into like a little parking,
Yeah.
little pad area, and then turn and drive up the driveway. That's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to get in and out of that driveway.
yeah, that's the idea too. Yeah, like that to get it wider and closer to the road, right? That's
Well,
what's
it doesn't even need to be wider. Like just kind of have like I kind of envision if you backed out of the garage rather than trying to back all the way up the driveway and onto the road, if you could kind of back out of the garage and turn and back into, and then turn and then drive straight up the driveway and like go forward up the driveway instead of back up the driveway.
I see.
That's gonna mitigate the steepness of the driveway. I'm not describing it very well, but
So Vlad, what's a reasonable setback that you can give us for that side?
For that side,
Yeah, how far over could you move that?
I can move it like 10 feet. Up to
A total
10
of
feet.
10 feet or?
Yeah. Maybe even more. Like, I mean, like,
Well, let's say at least
let's
10
say
feet.
10 feet. I mean, minimum.
Let's say at least 10 feet and then
Yeah.
See what you can do with that driveway as Dan's describing it. He's just talking about sort of a turnaround to make it easier to maneuver in that space.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to make it turn around, like on the left side so we can back up and kind of pull forward, just going
Yeah,
back.
it looks like you have no problem with property coverage or open space.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That might be a good solution. And I think it'd just be a more appealing property if you could move it over. Well, we'll say at
Mhm.
least 10 feet.
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm ready to make a motion on this.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I'll appreciate the builder working with us on this. I'll make a motion to deny and request that the builder resubmit addressing the issue related to the location, move the house over to the right, or move the house, whatever the direction is, 10 feet or more, and then put some accommodations in there for the driveway to where the homeowner can drive in and then back out and drive up the driveway. So basically a turnaround in there. And then also a note on the light that there's no upshining lights. So either cap the top of that light or come with a downshining light.
Okay. All in favor of Dan's motion?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Thank you, Vlad. Thanks for working
Okay,
with us
sounds
on
good.
that.
I'll redo the site plan and probably just resubmit on next meeting.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
bye. Alan, do we have anybody else waiting for us? Alan? Alan got
Yeah, I've
bored.
stepped away, but I don't see any other attendees.
Okay. All right, let's go up to item 3.
I'll move to approve.
No further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, that sounds unanimous. Are you with us, Alan?
He's probably gone to lunch.
All right, item 8. 46 Rocky Ridge Drive.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear you now? Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I was on double secret mute. My
Oh, no.
my laptop and my headphones were muted. I apologize.
Did you hear us? Or
I did all along the way. I did have one question on the back one about 10 feet. He currently has 5 feet separation from the property line. Is that make that 10 feet or 10 additional feet for a total of 15?
I think make it at least 10 feet.
10
Thought
feet.
it was,
Yeah, is that how you,
thought he was gonna move it 10 feet further.
Yeah, I was seeing
That's
it.
is that
I
what you
was
meant,
seeing it-
Dan?
Yeah, I was seeing an additional 10 feet.
Okay,
Not a lot
okay.
of room to work with.
it was
there.
Dan's motion.
Got it. 10 additional feet. Thank you for that. And on item 3, I've got an approval unanimous for the Marina deck.
Yes.
Got it.
We are now on item 8,
Yep.
and we did look at this one.
I move to approve.
Well, this one, let's see.
That's what.
This is the one we weren't sure. I think it was on the property line.
You've got in your notes to deny this one, Joe Jean.
Yeah, I know, but you should have seen it.
Well, here's the thing, Joe Jean. We couldn't tell where the property line is. We think he's building this right on the property line. And we need to either get permission from, well, we can't put it on the property line. But to offer any kind of variance, we would have to get permission from the neighbor, I think. They did a really good job on the screen for the gas tank, and it looks like they were in line to do the same thing. It's going to be a nice looking fence, but we definitely can't approve one that's right on the property line. So when we talked, we did go there and we talked to the owner, and he wasn't sure either. So I said we
The
needed
owner's
to.
son.
We talked to the owner's son. So I think we need the property line to be staked for us to make a determination. And if this is just going to be a variance of like a foot, I think we need permission.
So
Is that how you read it, Patrick? Joe Jean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So at this
Okay.
point, we would deny and request a resubmittal showing the fence in relation to the property line.
Correct.
With a 1 foot variance from the property line.
Well, he can offer a variance then on top of that. Yeah, he could work with Alan on that.
Yeah.
But if it is a 1 foot variance he's requesting, I think we should at least get the neighbor's approval.
Why would we need a neighbor's approval?
I think it has to be 5 feet away. If this is that close to his property, I think he should have some say in it.
I thought
Do
if
you not
it's on the
agree?
property line, he needs approval, but if it's if it's not on his property, but it's within the setbacks, then he needs a variance from Sudden Valley. I don't know that we want to extend that setback variance to the neighbors as well, do we?
That's our call. If we feel like it needs to be part of a neighbor's decision.
Yeah, you're both correct. Dan is quoting, proper chapter and verse. It's on the owner's property line, but Daniel's right. We can request the neighbor to be okay with that. Similar to the folks with the child who was prone to dashing off. The neighbor was very willing, but we
Mhm.
wanted a letter because it was not on the property line, but within a foot of the property line.
And also it's a 40-foot long fence. I mean, this is a pretty extensive fence.
Yep.
And the distance between the panels is just 12 inches, which is it's pretty tight. If it were like 3 panels, I'd probably just go ahead with a variance on that, but this is pretty extensive and it would really affect the neighbor's property.
Why do they want to do this?
If you'd seen the I think it's warranted.
Okay.
I can certainly understand it. And if, if they don't get permission, we can still review it, you know.
Yeah, I
So-
think then hopefully they understand that if they come back and put it 5 foot off the property line, won't require anything. If they want to go less than that, we're going to review it and may determine that the neighbor needs to give sign off. So
Yes.
Okay, I can do that.
So that sounds like a denial with that motion.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
yeah, I'll make a motion then to deny and request a resubmittal showing the fence in relation to the property line with a footnote that if it's going to be less than 5 feet from the property line, we may require neighbor's approval.
Got it.
Perfect. All in favor of Dan's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. This item 9, shed for 51 Sudden Valley Drive. Yeah, my other question was what not permanent means. Still not quite sure. I guess maybe it means there's no pad.
I believe that's correct, that he was just going to put it on the ground, level the ground and put it down. No securing, no posts, nothing like that.
Okay, we don't really have any
Bottom up.
direction in our policies as to, foundations or
No.
permanent structure. So,
Any questions on setbacks or where it's going to set in relation to the property line? Or
no, I think that was all okay.
do they have it staked?
Did we look at this one?
No, we didn't.
It's got a pretty sketchy is not the right word, but simplistic drawing.
Yeah. And it is, I guess that's kind of the front yard, isn't it? Sudden Valley is their road, but it's still in front of the house.
That's what I'm trying to see. Like you see Sudden Valley Drive there, but where's the house lay in relation to the driveway?
Yeah, we did not look at this one.
Like where's the driveway? That would tell us a lot. Like I don't know, where's the driveway?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably one we should have looked at, the space, because for some reason I was thinking this was in the backyard, but this is definitely
Well, he's got 2 lots. So I think we can either approve it as is or deny and want to go and see it strung out and go and visit.
50.
I guess I'd feel better going to visit. I think we need to deny for more information. Yeah, it is a very rudimentary drawing. I mean, tree. I'm not sure what that means. I guess it's hiding it a little bit, but I'm not sure. I feel it's a little bit on me because I didn't go look at this, but I think for us to make a determination, we need a little bit more information.
Alan, do you have any information on this?
No, other than what we see here.
Okay.
Well, can we make a motion to defer pending site visit by the ACC, which we didn't get to last time, and the main reason for that is that there wasn't adequate information in the submittal with related to setbacks and so forth.
Can we defer, Alan? I think that
Yeah, I don't think you can defer.
I think defer if we defer and nothing happens in 6 months, it's approved. Is that correct, Alan?
That is correct.
Deny.
Yeah, let's just deny and give an explanation.
Okay,
Wait.
who's making the motion?
I thought Patrick.
Did you?
Patrick?
I move to deny and have the shed strung out to where it's exactly going to be positioned.
Yeah, that sounds good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, item 10 is a
Extension.
is an extension. They're asking for 2.5 months, but I think as a matter of course, we're going to just approve for 6 months, and admin will determine how many months that they actually have to pay for. So this will be a 6-month approval. Does that sound right, Alan?
Yeah, let me backfill Joel a little bit. On the topic of extensions, we're going to use Monday to give approval and then allow for Monday to prompt us to remind us that the builders must come in and pay their monthly stipend for as much time as they need.
So all approvals will be for 6 months, extension approvals, correct?
That is my understanding.
But then for 6 months, wouldn't they have to pay a larger fee than if they did it for 3 months and pay on a monthly basis?
You know,
It's still a monthly basis, but
Yeah.
we don't want to keep doing this every month. So if somebody says we need one more month, one more month, one more month.
So we'll
It's just better for admin and accounting and all that.
So
we're not charging them for 6 months.
Correct.
We're approving it for up to 6 months, and then they can work with admin to determine how much they need and how much they need to pay for.
Correct.
So if we
Yeah.
approve this, is it for 6 months?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve this extension for up to 6 months.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item 11, 92 Sudden Valley Drive. These people want to paint their house.
But it looks like only the trim is approved, right? So
Yeah.
the Shoho white, pure white, and then the Gale Force, whatever the heck that is.
Yeah. The house and accent colors are not approved, but the trim is. There's a pretty good, on page 2, a picture of their house and the sample colors. It's not unattractive.
No. It's not going to throw the neighborhood into a tizzy, I don't think.
No.
Can we get a motion on this? There's a nice smiley face with a thank you at the bottom too, for crying out loud.
That bears consideration.
And an exclamation point.
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. I think that's everybody.
Yep.
Item 13, 40 Harbor View Drive. This is a deck that I guess they're expanding on it. 13.
Yeah.
So our only question was, is this get into the open space area or coverage?
Well, my thought is that since it was only going to be a 2 foot by, was a 16 feet expansion, that it really shouldn't dramatically change open space. But truthfully, I did not run the numbers. If you want them, we can do that.
And I think this is one we did not visit. Is that correct, Joe Jean?
I'm sorry, what?
We didn't go to look at this one, did we?
No,
Anybody have any issues?
How big,
Oh.
you know how big the lot is?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
I can take a quick look.
They're
They
adding,
can't have any guests over.
they're adding 92 square feet.
Yeah.
So depends on how big the lot is. I mean, if it's a big lot, that's not gonna really move the needle.
They
That's
probably
what
get started so they can have people over during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
well, according to the county, it is a good sized lot. Let me see if I can get you some specs. Oops, I'm looking for the numbers on the county site. Sketch. Land. 3-bedroom. So it's only 1,300 square foot or 1,900. State code 1113, 1906 square feet house. And I'm looking for the lot.
Quarter of an acre.
Okay. The lot is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
So
a good size lot.
yeah, it's a good sized lot, not
I don't
big
think 92
house, 90
square
square
feet
feet.
make a big difference here.
Yeah. You guys good with it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good. Item 15. 22 Sweet Clover. We did go look at this one.
I'll move to approve.
Well, I think let me get to it first, Judgine.
That's the one where
This,
this be the outline of the deck, sort of.
yeah, I think this is the one that wasn't this one's oh, this one's not on the property line.
But they are looking for a variance.
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
So dog run off the backyard patio, up the side yard with gates. Uh, full something staked in flag with a smiley face. Um,
Yeah,
we are looking to build we are looking to use 4 of 5 feet of the setback to the limited amount of space we have in our yard, and we are looking to use the space in the best way possible we can. There's not much space to work with on either side, and this is the bigger of the two sides. Additionally, we will discuss this with the neighbor so that they are aware and approve of it. That was my note, is that they were going to discuss it, but they haven't gotten any approval. So this
Yeah,
would be
they at this point they talked to the neighbor who was a renter, but I said that it would have to be the owner. And this is a dog run, which
Yeah, and these people moved in a week ago.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you give a I don't think you give up 4 of the 5 feet for a dog run. I mean, they're already got a pretty big space in the back.
well,
They did
it's their 5 feet though.
Yeah, but you give, I mean, again, this one to me, if you're gonna put a fence a foot from the property line for a dog run, that's the kind of thing that the neighbors should say, yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
yeah, I agree. And she has 2 dogs, and one of them's a husky and the other's a Chihuahua mix. I would definitely want to have some say in it if this was my neighbor. And she did talk about maybe just containing it to the side of the house instead of going beyond that.
The dog run? Like not having it in the back?
No,
No, not having it in the side.
Just having it in the back?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't like any of these pet enclosures, but I don't like fences or in general.
Yeah, that's why I thought, I mean, I would consider the variance if the neighbor was okay with it. I don't like it either, but this is a
well,
case where
remember we
I,
told her that she could just go ahead and contact Alan and find out the owner and just get a email approval and sent to Alan and we could have it for this meeting, but apparently she didn't do that.
No, she did, and I looked up the owner. It's, as you said, it's a renter, and the owner doesn't have an email or phone number. So I'm perplexed as to how I could write them a letter, but that's
we're supposed to have that, aren't we?
what. Yeah. And what's your point?
I'm just taking notes for a short-term rental committee.
Got it.
As far as the fence too, it just has wood and wire. It doesn't say anything about height or anything like that. Or don't we normally require more specification in terms of like what kind of wire? I mean, we've gotten into level of detail of whether it's like
It's
over
wooden.
wire.
Yeah, it's the trade name for hog wire. We
Right.
go by wooden wire as well.
But we've had others where they've said, well, we're gonna do it's got to be like certain grade wire and it's got to be like PVC dipped wire. And I mean, are we good with just wooden wire?
I think if we approve this, we need to be clear in our motion.
Well, look, so two things. First, going back to an earlier one, request on the height. In the lower right-hand corner, it says panels will all be 4 feet in height, varying 6 feet to 8 feet in length. And
Okay, I see that now.
yeah, and for the other question, what was the other question? The second one besides that, Dan, you were just.
I mean, yeah. If you guys are okay with
Oh,
it,
the wooden wire. Apologies. That's how we refer to it in the policy guide. Hog wire is just a nickname for it, but a split rail or wooden wire.
Yeah, we
If you
have
s-
had occasions where people would make a fence made out of wood and wire,
Sure.
but it wasn't our specifications, and they'd already done it. And what are you gonna say? But
Sure.
you can put chicken wire and it's still wooden wire, but
Fair.
make sure you do make that clear that it's very clear in our policies what it has to be.
Yeah.
I would say it has to be, if there's going to be an approval, it's got to be consistent with ACC guidelines for fencing. We could approve the pet enclosure again, not a big fan, and then just deny the variance. And if she wants to pull it back to the 5 foot, doesn't need the variance. And if she wants more than that, she's going to have to get approval from the neighbor, not just the renter. So
Yeah, that's how I see it.
So 15, just to put words in your mouth, Dan, 15 we would approve. 16 we would deny pending a letter from the neighbor.
I feel comfortable with that. Is that what you're saying, Dan?
yeah, generally, but someone else gonna have to make the motion. I don't make motions on fences.
So Gene, that's your forte.
I'll make the motion to approve 15 and deny 21 until she gets a letter from the owner of the house if Sudden Valley can figure out who owns the house.
Sure.
Okay, can we do it like that? Let's just make them. Let's who all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was 15. Yeah.
That's 15. Is that everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 16 is the variance. All in favor of Joe Jean's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Dan is not on the record of ever approving or making a motion for a fence. I
So they
appreciate
could
that.
go, I mean, if they wanted to, they could go ahead and just fence off the back and not do the side and have to worry about that variance then.
Yeah, I will do two things. Send them a copy from our index about the fence types to make sure there's no misunderstanding, and then offer that, since you did talk with them, if they do away with the side, then you do away with the variance. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Item 21, livable green and alabaster.
Yeah.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Are they
It's bold, but I'm okay with it. This is for the house and the shed. Is that what it says?
Correct. Home and
Okay.
home and shed.
Okay. Did you make a motion, Joe Jean?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 22, 113 Polo Park Drive. All right. So he's removing a bench and putting a shed, and the shed looks pretty nice. I'd live in that shed. Extra points for putting a good shed up. Anybody have any issues with this?
No. I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yeah. One more, right?
Yep. Last one.
Item 26, 6 River Ridge Loop. Paint colors. We're getting a
Everything.
red door in the neighborhood.
Yep. Everything except the red door is pre-approved.
Okay. I'm good with it. I like the compliment.
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That's everything. So we can adjourn this meeting at later than I thought, 11:46.
Coming up on 3 hours, folks.
Oh, man.
Well, it was that Louise View one that took
Yeah,
forever.
that killed.
Yeah, that one's always been problematic. Are we recording?
No, wait.